Okay, it is recording. All right. Well, welcome people who are here or who are watching this at a later date. We are excited to have our first ever Media Library Lunch and Learn series. And so we are kicking it off with Mindy Romero from Mackin. We've had a lot of interest and questions this fall and this school year so far about how to get access to audiobooks and more ebooks. And so just wanting to spread the word some more about Mac and Via, and we're always trying to update titles. And Mindy is an expert and knows things that are happening even around the state and has some great ideas. So welcome, Mindy. We are excited to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be invited and to show people that are within the Grantwood AEA some of the amazing resources that you have been very carefully vetting and selecting over many years. Um, as Diana said, my name is Mindy Romero. I work for Mackin Educational Resources, and Mackin Via is the digital platform that is free for you to use. And it has been designed for schools, designed for preschool through 12th grade. And so all of the tools you see here are very specific to what students in those grades would need and be interested in. And we have been partnering with the AEAs for about 12 years as they have selected titles that align with curriculum, that are award winners, that they think that students and teachers will be excited about and interested in and can use in classrooms. And so I'm going to give you a quick tour of Mac and Via, what you have available to you in the platform, and then I'm going to give you a quick tour of what you have available from Grantwood AEA resources and show you how you can do some sharing within your LMS. And I'm going to go really quickly because we only have 20 minutes, but at the end, I'm going to save a couple minutes for questions and to make sure that everybody's able to access Mac and Via. We only have one person in addition to those of us here, so we'll go ahead and limit the question time. Okay, so when you're in Mac and Via, you land on a home page, and this is customizable. So, so on my homepage, I have customized it to have a few different groups of resources. And I can access these resources by clicking on each of the items, and it'll take me to an ebook or an audiobook or a link, whatever I have in there. On the far left side, you'll see there's ways to filter the resources, and we're going to go over there, go over those as well. And then in the far right, you'll see that I have a backpack and it knows me. And my backpack is important because I can use a notebook, I can check out books, and I can also favorite books. If I have a book that I've requested, it'll show me that there. And we'll dive deeper into why all of these things are important to you. So this book here, I can open it right now, or I can get more information about the title. I can heart it and it'll go in my backpack. If I check it out, it'll go in my backpack. And if I click on the eye, it'll give me information about this title. And I can see what topics and genres it covers. I can see the interest level. And I can see that this book has text to speech. If maybe I need that for a student that has an IEP or special needs, or needs to enhance their understanding and fluency. When I am searching for a book, let's say I want to look at ebooks, and I want to find a book that I have in the collection already. I can go ahead and, let's say I want to find a book. I can't remember the whole name, but I want to find A Mall and Bound. And sure enough, I put in a mall and there's my book, and I can open it or check it out or find more information about it. Um, I have here Best Match. So I can also do the newest book that has a mall in the name. I can do the books that are by the author, or by the resource itself. And then I can also do the same thing for audiobooks. So when I'm searching an audiobook, I can use that search bar there. And then if I'm looking for a category, I can click on categories, and maybe my interest is in historical fiction and I want to see the 43 titles that are available to me in historical fiction. Then maybe I want to limit those historical fiction titles by their interest level. So maybe I'm a fourth grader and I'm going to look at a third through sixth grade interest level. And I can limit that and make sure that these titles are titles that I'll be able to read and that may be of interest to me. And then I'm going to get out of that filter, and then I'm going to go back over to groups and show you a little bit about those groups. These have been curated by somebody. A teacher can let the librarian know what they want to curate or curate themselves. I've curated some of these and use different resources in addition to ebooks and audiobooks. So this one, for example, you can see by the little icon, I have some ebooks. You can see by the link, I have some links. And then at one point I had videos, but those I don't have in here anymore, but you can add them as well. So if I want to go to that book All the Way to America is in here, so I can open it right from that group. And it doesn't mean I'm checking this book out. I'm just opening the book, and I can start reading it or utilizing it. If I'm a teacher, maybe I'm projecting it on the board. Um, but there's so many uses for a picture book, as you know, in your classrooms. And if you can imagine reading this to your class and having it on your whiteboard, or maybe you're diving into vocabulary words or mini lessons that you want to use the books on the whiteboard for, that's a wonderful way to use the ebooks. Again, just different ways to search if you're in the ebooks, and maybe you have a specific topic or genre that you want to look up, and you can click here under that filter on that far left. And let's say, well, we were looking at immigration. So let's say you're interested in immigration, and you are going to want to look at fiction books. You can see what's available to you. You can filter down further on that far left side using those filters if you want a specific reading level, for example. You can see which books may apply to a certain reading level. Maybe you're helping a student, or you're selecting a book for your class. And then you can help students to find these. You can have them in their ebooks. You can put a link to these books in Canvas or Google Classroom, whatever you're using for your LMS. So lots of different ways to use the books and search for the books and filter the books that you look for, so that you're not going through thousands of books like you have. But really, with these ebooks, the thousands that you have, you're giving your students a home library that they can use anytime when they're not at school and they need a book that they can, if they've planned ahead and they don't have internet at home, they can download books online and read them offline. If they are in the summertime, they want to go to the public library maybe, or somewhere where there's internet and they can download a book there. They just have all these books at their fingertips. And for teachers, you've got a classroom library at your fingertips, because the AEAs have selected so many books that are aligned with social studies and science and different areas of Iowa standards and curriculum. So let's just quickly show you a few things in a book. I'm going to use this example on the front desk here. This book has reflowable content, which most publishers give us books in reflowable content. That means that our Mac and Via reader can modify it. So if you are working with a student that needs to have their print modified, if they need a bigger font type perhaps, or if they need a different font type, Open Dyslexic is weighted heavy on the bottom. This helps words from floating around for some students. You can change the background so that it's darker or lighter. all of these things you might see on a IEP or 504 plan for a student. They might need to read in a different color, or maybe they're someone who reads at night, and sepia will help them not to have the deal with the blue light. And then also you can do other things with for accommodations in a text that has, I'm sorry, I'm going to just get the font back to normal here. And then hold on just a second here. I'm going to change that. And then if you wanted, a student needed to have text to speech, for example, or maybe they have ADD and having 2 pages on one page is too much for them, they can switch over and have just one page so it's read more like the internet. And then if you, maybe you're like, how do you say this? You can go ahead and click on play, and this will play. It is automated, but just so you can see what that sounds like.
Mr. Yao's head, which was all shiny under the light. Mr. Yao's head, which was all
Okay,
shiny
so,
under the light.
You can change the speed. You can
One day,
change the
you'll
voice.
understand.
Some students might prefer to listen to a woman's voice. Some might have fun and listen to a British, a male or female. But wonderful if you have a student that as a struggling reader for some reason or another, that you can reduce the speed of that font type, or I'm sorry, the speed of that text to speech. Then there's organizational tools. So you can use highlighting and underlining. You can see that in this book, I haven't had this book checked out for a while, but I've done some underlining and I've done some highlighting, and those things are saved in this book for me, even though I haven't had it checked out. And I can look up a word. So I can find if I come across a word that is unfamiliar to me, I can click on that word, and then I can have the dictionary read it to me. I'll go ahead and let you hear what that sounds like.
Engineer.
And so then maybe my teachers instructed me to keep a note of every book, every word that I look up in the dictionary. And then maybe I have to write the definition. Um, and then all these things that are underlined and highlighted and you've taken notes, back to that backpack we were talking about, you're going to see that those notes are in this notebook here, and you can export those notes to Google Drive or OneDrive. And then you have textual evidence or a vocabulary list, and you can share that with the student can share that with the teacher, and then you can start a question response on a Google Doc, for example. Okay, so time is going quickly. Those are a few of the things that I wanted to show you that you have access to, and thinking of ways you can use Mackinvia. In addition to those that I mentioned, you might have a small group or independent reading, and you're doing inquiry units, and you can use the tools in Mackinvia, the resources that have been collected for you there and curated very carefully. So with an audiobook, I just want to show you what that would be like. You can do your searching here. I have this book checked out, so I'm going to go ahead and listen now. And some of the things I want you to be aware of are that audio
Getting back on her horse.
are professional narration. They don't have the text. So sometimes a student might want to have both a textbook and a professionally narrated book. They can change the speed of which this professional narration is read. They can go back 30 seconds, forward 30 seconds. I listen to audiobooks all the time, so I'll be walking and get distracted, or a neighbor will talk to me, and then I go back a chapter or back 30 seconds. I'll let you hear what that sounds like for just a second here.
It was 1993, and she bought every.
I highly recommend reading this book if you haven't already. It's a wonderful read, and actually my children and I listened to it when we would drive in the car, and then we all wanted to read it in print, and then the next one. I think there's 3 now. Okay, so we've talked about a few of the reasons to use this backpack, and you do need to do a backpack authentication or set up a backpack on your own. And we have information to share with you about that. You can talk to Diana, Kathleen, or Bridget about how to do that. You also may want to share in Google Classroom. You might want to share the resources, a unit that you have to put together, or even just a single title. Maybe you're going to use one of the read-alongs, and you're going to connect that in Google Classroom, and then it'll just open right up from Google Classroom for you. It's very easy to use, and it's very quick to connect. And then there's just a button. We can show that to you at some point. And then also with Canvas and Schoology, they work very similarly, but maybe you're sharing the Goldie's history titles for some reason, and you've got that whole group of those resources added. And then you can see the resources in your assignments on Canvas, and you just click on them and it'll open up right to that title or that group of resources. And so it'll take you to Mac and Via, it'll take you to those resources, and students can open them from Canvas or Google Classroom, whatever the LMS is that you're using. And you just click on Open Now. I do want to share with you how you can use one-click that the AEAs have acquired for you. And let me just pull my screen over because I couldn't be logged into two things at the same time on the same account. Do you see where I am on the one-click Launchpad? Okay, wonderful. Okay, so you go to the Grantwood AEA online resources and you click on Mac and Via, and it just takes you right to your account. I'm using not myself, but a different account today. And it'll just open right up to my backpack. So those things we talked about that you need the backpack for, the checkouts and the notebook and things like that. And then every of the resources that the AEA has purchased for me will be found in here. So maybe I am excited to have my students read the Goldfinch Awards or Children's Choice Awards. Maybe I'm collaborating with a social studies teacher and I want students to know what they have for Goldie's history titles. These are wonderful titles. There are several read-alongs here, and you can see by that icon, there's the ebook with the play button, and these will have the text and the professional narration for you. So I just access that from one click, and now I have a backpack in there. My students can read this. I can just go ahead and push play, and you'll hear the professional narration. You'll see that the words are highlighted and the sentences are highlighted. I'm going to push play here.
There will be times when you walk into a room and no one there is quite like you.
Sometimes you're lucky enough that the author is the professional narrator. On these, you can change the speed as well. Wonderful to sit down with a parent and student and be able to have this read aloud and help them on their own or with somebody. These just are so valuable. And that was in that Goldie's Histories group, Goldie's History Kit group. And then same thing with Children's Choice, you'll find those easy access titles. There's science groups. There's wonderful resources in the science groups that you can access easily. And those I found by just clicking on groups. And you can, if there's a specific group that you want to highlight on your homepage, you can customize that. So right now on this homepage, we've got newest books that get added. We've also got the Goldfinch and Children's Choice Awards, and then we've got the Goldie's History Kits. And so I can access these just by clicking on the book and opening it right from the homepage. Is there anything else that you guys want me to talk about? I've hit the 12:20 mark, and so I wanted to allow for questions. So maybe instead of questions, we'll have you guys interject anything that you wanted to.
One thing that I also like to point out is that Mac and Via is also an app. So it can be on an iPad, it can be on a phone. So that's where I access most of my Mac and Via content is on my phone. And so I can use we're Google authenticated, which many of our schools are. So if you are a school and you want to know how to do that so that kids don't have to log in with, well, they wouldn't have to log in. If they go in through one click, they're going to get in. But if they're not authenticated, then they might not be able to maybe check out a book or bookmark something. But that's something Kathleen works with Mac and Via and your district technology person, and it doesn't take long at all once you initiate that.
Yeah, you have wonderful support with Kathleen and our team to just walk you through the steps of an authentication so that students, like Diana said, they can use any thing. Like my daughter has an iPhone 4. She can use that to listen and read to books. It's wonderful to use when you have students that want to read everywhere they go and read offline as well as reading online.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have questions, reach out to Diana, Kathleen, and Bridget, or me. And Diana has shared a folder that has additional information, and we have lots of links so that we have lots of videos in that document that you can easily access, so that if you're not wanting to reach out to one of us and you're wanting to train yourself, you can do that in minutes.
Yeah, there's a lot of support. Do you have anything else to add, Bridget or Kathleen? And I know Veronica is down there. It looks like her audio is not connecting. So if she has any questions, she can always follow back up with us. And I know we have a lot more people that signed up and just haven't been able to join us, or they're coming for the next session at 12:30. And so this video will be helpful to those in the hybrid format.
Wonderful.
So
Well,
thank
thank
you
you so much.
Yes, and if you are not going to be here for the next session, just remember that next Wednesday we have another Lunch and Learn at noon as well, and that will be looking at a new product that we're not providing, but that is very much worth looking at as it has people search with live sites, incredible sources, but also provides information on bias and media literacy, just looking at kind of if something leans more towards the right or the left, and just to kind of think about the information you're consuming. So it's a really neat tool to get those discussions going. So thank you, Mindy, and we'll see you again in a few minutes, but I will just pause recording until 12:30 when we do our secondary focus, correct? Get to my recording.
All right. Thank you for joining us today. We have Mindy Romero from Mac and Via here to talk about the resources, this time specifically geared more towards our secondary audience. I'll let her take it away.
Great. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. I am from Mac and Educational Resources, and sharing about Mac and Via, which is our digital portal that is free for everybody to use, and it is designed to be a K-12 product. And so there are all kinds of tools that we want to share with you that you have access to at your fingertips. We've been partnering with the Grantwood AEA for about 12 years, and they have been curating and vetting the resources that are in your Mac and Via account, finding the award books, finding books that align with curriculum and state standards, and all kinds of wonderful things to share with you in this platform. I'm going to stop my share though, because I didn't share sound, and that's going to be important. Oh, I did share sound. Okay, good. So thanks for being here, and we'll leave time for questions if anybody has any at the end. So in Mac and Via, you have got everything's customizable. So this landing page or home page, I can change these different carousels that show up depending on who my audience is, what month it is, what week it is. Maybe I'm highlighting Valentine's Day or Black History Month or both. And then I've got over on my left, I've got all these different ways to filter books. And I've got a search bar in the right, on the upper right. And then the top upper right, I've got my backpack. And we're going to talk about how to use all of these things, but I'm just kind of pointing them out to you. In my backpack, I can add books that I'm excited to read at some time. Those are my favorites. I'll be taking notes in books, and I'm going to show you how that is useful, and that's in my backpack. And then I have books that I've checked out as well. So I have several books that I've checked out to use with you today. I can also see what I've checked out in the past. And then I'll also get a reminder if there's a book that I want to check out that somebody else has. From the home page, you can check out a book, you can view a book, you can get more information about a book. These are so if I want more information about the book Becoming, maybe I want to see how many are available. This is my personal account, so I only have one book available, but I can get all kinds of information about what I might find in this book as far as genre and topics, but then I can also find out what interest level and reading level this book is, and that it has text to speech and reflowable content. And I'm going to show you what reflowable content looks like in just a couple minutes here, but I want to help you be able to find books and help students find books. So the reason these books are all together is because they're in groups, and the groups are also customizable. So I change my groups all the time. I add links, I add different information that is going to be useful, and different books if I buy a new book or an audiobook. And so to give you an idea of some of the information you might find in there, different links to anything within a URL can go in, and you can have instructions as well. You can also search for books by categories. So if you are somebody who loves mystery and suspense, you can look at that category and see what's available to you. And then if you want to further filter that search, you can go by interest level and see which books might be a little bit higher reading level, something that you're more interested in. And so there's a lot of ways to filter books, but that's the categories, and then using the filters below. If you're looking at ebooks and they haven't already been categorized for you in groups or categories, you can use that filter below, and you can search by a variety of different things. Maybe you need to search by lexile for some reason, or language. Maybe you're wanting to know what books we have in a certain, you have in your account in a certain genre. So I'm gonna do okay, we're going to work with In Time of Butterflies. So I am going to just put immigration in here as well, and see what I have for books that align with immigration. So you can use a variety of different filters there. So you different subjects and topics. Again, you can, if you wanted to search by author, and I wanted to see that Alva Alfredo does have a book that is immigration. Maybe I couldn't find it before, or I knew I needed it, something like that. And then when you go into the book and open it, you can open it from the front page, the home page. You can open it from a group, you can open it from the categories, or you can open it from searching. This book is a book that is in English and Spanish, and wonderful for you to have if you are showing, maybe you use picture books to put on the whiteboard to introduce a unit perhaps, or if you are working on vocabulary or something like that you want to dig in deep with students and you want to project to that for the students. A lot easier to see that on a whiteboard than on an individual book that you're holding up. But we do love print books, but just pointing out ways you can use these books. So back to ebooks. You can search up in this search bar. So maybe I'm wanting to find that book in the time of butterflies. I can't figure out the whole name of it, but butterflies will come up, do a search for me. And if it's in the title of the book, it'll come up first. If it's in the content, it'll come up later. But you see there's 2 books that come up for me that have butterflies in the title. Actually, butterfly is in one of the titles. And I would have best match there. If I wanted to change it to author or resource A to Z, I can do a variety of things there. This is automatically tiles, but you can also get look by list. And so if you're just wanting to see information easily about a book, while you're looking, you can change from tiles to list. That's an option for you. And then I wanted to show you also what an audiobook looks like or sounds like, really, because in an audiobook, there is not any text. And these have professional narration. And so I'm going to just have you listen to this one. Let me move some things out of the way here, meaning our faces. So you'll see you can go 30
Chinese
seconds
newspaper
back,
she could
you
find.
can go 30 seconds forward, you can go a chapter back, you can go a chapter forward, you can increase the time, you can decrease the time, the speed at which it's read. People who have vision impairments often want to listen at a faster speed. Somebody who maybe is an English language learner would want to perhaps listen at a slower speed. For me, 1 is just right. And so just listen to the professional narration for a minute. This is Kelly Yang reading her book.
She pored over the job section with a magnifying glass.
I love reading audiobooks. I always have one downloaded on my phone, whether I'm driving all over Iowa or if I'm walking my dogs. I just really enjoy having those audiobooks that I can access at any time. And I know some people will fall asleep to an audiobook. Some people will play their audiobook while they're brushing their teeth if it's a book that they're trying to read before class starts and they have 5 minutes and they can participate in a conversation then in class after have listened to that book for 5 minutes that they didn't spend with the print book. Okay, and then we do have a lot of accommodations in our books. And so when you're in a book that has reflowable content, I'm going to look at my checked out books here, and I'm going to find out if this has reflowable content. Reflowable content means our e-reader can modify. The publisher hasn't given it to us just in a PDF form. That is sometimes happens if the book is an older book and it hasn't been modified. So I like to use the reflowable content to find, to be able to enhance a book for a student that maybe needs the font type increased. So I click on that big A, little a, I can increase the font, I can change the font. If I use Open Dyslexic, for some students having it weighted heavy on the bottom, that helps them to not have words float around. And then also you'll find that sometimes an IEP says the brightness needs to be darker or brighter. And also it's nice if you read at night to be able to change that. Sepia, often you'll see that a student needs to have a different color to read, and this also helps with the blue light at night. And then you also can have the black background. And so those are just a few of the modifications that you can make. And you can also, I'm going to click out and then click back in. If you also want to modify for a student, maybe they just love reading like they do on the internet, or maybe they have something like ADD where reading with just one page and not too open is beneficial for them. You can also use the computer automated text-to-speech. This is not the beautiful professional narration, but it's very helpful. And so I'm going to go ahead and push play.
Exactamente. Finally, the woman is getting the hang of how things are done here.
So obviously he's not reading in Spanish because it would say exactamente, right? But in English. And then you can also change that voice to be a woman or a different man's voice. People have strong preferences about what they like to read or who they like to have reading to them. You can also change the speed at which that is read to you. Wonderful if you have below level readers for whatever reason. And so those are a couple of the accommodations. And then you can see that we also here have, you can see where there's been some highlighting done and things like that. So I may be looking for character evidence, or I may be looking for foreshadowing, or maybe I'm looking for words that are unfamiliar to me and I want to look up in the dictionary. So I can click on a word and I can click on the dictionary. The word will be read to me.
Blossom.
And I can hear the definition as well. So this one has the noun and the verb. I guess I have to decide which way that which definition works better here. And then maybe I take a note, and maybe I need this note to help me, or maybe it's to tell my teacher, you have to, maybe my teacher assigned me 5 words to new vocabulary words and write a definition of them. Now I'm going to show you where you'll find those notes that you've taken. If they'll be in your backpack. And if you click on your notebook, you can see every note you've ever taken on a specific book. So if I go by resource and I go in the time of butterflies, I can see all the notes I've ever taken there, and then I can export those notes to Google Drive or OneDrive, and I can start question response on a doc with my teacher. And then they've got my either maybe vocabulary list or character evidence, whatever I'm using that day. And you don't have to have the book checked out to use those notes. Okay, so you may use your library of hundreds and hundreds of titles as a classroom library. You may use it as a personal library for a student. You might have students that want to download the app on any device and listen offline. So they do have to download a book online to be able to listen offline. But as was mentioned earlier, many students have long bus rides and they don't have access to the internet, and they want to listen to a book on their way home or read a book, or maybe they've been assigned a book that they're working on, and that's such a great use of their time. You can also use Canvas and Google Classroom and Schoology and other LMSs to share the books with students, what you want them to read, or if you maybe you've made a list for them that's exciting books that you think apply to them, whatever it is. But you can access that from, you have to add it to your Canvas. It's easy. You just click on add to course, and then you can open those resources up right from Canvas. You also can search the entire Mac and VIA in Canvas. And then the same thing for Google Classroom or Schoology. You just will open up the resources and be able to read right from the book that you have added in Google Classroom as well. So going back to Mac and VIA, there's a few things that I wanted to share with you that if you wanted to find a book that is a read along or has the professional narration and text to speech, those are usually more like picture books. However, there are more and more coming out that are for teens. But they're wonderful if you have a student and they don't want people to know that they enjoy or need the professional narration. Read-alongs are fantastic. They'll highlight a word, they'll highlight a sentence, and then they have the professional narration, which is what you heard in the audiobook. And so I just go ahead and I push play and she reads to me.
Maybe it will be your skin, your clothes, or the curl of your.
So you can use the speed. You can change the speed at which that professional narration goes as well. I love the read along books for so many reasons. I want to make sure you know that you have one click and that you can easily access Mac and Via through one click. I showed you that backpack, and you do have to set up backpacks. You can have them be set up automatically, or you can go one by one. Automatically takes 15 minutes for an IT person. Through one click, you've got all of these Grantwood AEA digital resources, and you'll find Mac and Via there. So if I click on Mac and Via, it'll take me to the account. If I was logged in already, it would have just popped up for me, but I have to log in because I have multiple accounts open, and then it knows who I am. I'm co-college. I'm a student at co-college. And then I can just use my backpack from there. I want you to know that you have amazing resources here that have been curated and vetted by the AEAs. You've got your high school word books, you've got your teen award books. There's many social studies books. They are always buying the National Council of Social Studies Trade Book Awards. There's science books aligned to the standards. And when you go to the homepage, it'll change. They change it for you from time to time. But often, so what you could find from the homepage or in groups, those current teen awards and then the high school awards. And usually right before summer starts, you'll see the new set of award books, and you can suggest to students to read those all summer long. And I do want to reiterate that that with the app on a Chromebook or on any device, you can download the app and download online and read offline. So there's explore the resources you have. There are so many ebooks. It looks like there's over 3,000 ebooks, and then in audiobooks, there's hundreds of those. And then you can access Tumble Books right from Mac and Via as well, or you can access it from your apps in one click. So are there any questions or anything that the team wanted to add or that I forgot to say? Wendy, do you have any questions? Nope. Okay. Well, we want you to know that Diana, Bridget, Kathleen, and I are available at your fingertips. Kathleen can help you with an authentication. Like I said, it does take working with your IT person, and takes about 15 minutes that we can walk you through the steps. Maybe you're at a district that's already set up, which is awesome as well.
Yes.
Oh, good. Great. Don't even worry about that then.
I sent her a message. So one thing I thought about when I was looking at Wendy is I know some districts or some librarians also will purchase ebooks. So maybe one of the books we have maybe 5 copies, and your language arts teachers want more. Your school district or your library budget can purchase more of those, and they'll go in the same place, but then just your school would have access to them. And so that's another way to just utilize that. You can use what we have, but then you can also personalize it for your school and your school's needs.
That is such a great point. So you can do that by going to mackin.com And you can add any ebook or audiobook you want. You can customize your Mackinvia account the way you want it. And we also have class sets. So the publishers designate how much time they designate the license. So it might be something you might find a multi-user. You can use it your entire school. You might find a book that is perpetual. You can keep forever, just one student at a time. Or you might find a class set that you can have for 90 days and is very low purchase point. So I've had a lot of districts that they've been like, we have everybody, we have all of our 12th graders need to read In the Time of Butterflies. So we need 1,200 copies of that. And they get them for $3.80. For example, there's going to be a variety of prices designated by the publishers, but that is a wonderful option.
And one more thing too, is
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, because she's at Prairie Point, correct? I'm pretty sure your predecessor, there's also the ability to take the MARC records from Mackinvia and put them into Destiny.
Yes.
So then when students are looking in your library catalog, they can also see that these ebooks are available and click on them. And that's why your school has them authenticated through Destiny, because then they automatically get checked out.
Yeah.
There.
Yes, that's
So.
such a good point. And I know that at Prairie Point, purchase have been made for the school that are digital purchases.
Yeah.
We have the information that Diana shared. There's a folder. It has links to videos of everything that we've talked about today and so much more. There's also a link to a website that has the MARC records. I'm sure Diana can help you one-on-one, or I
Oh,
can
absolutely.
too. But that's where you go, you find those MARC records, and they're separated by subscription or perpetual, so that you can download all the perpetual titles as far back as you want to go. And then if you, the subscription, you just want to say a note to yourself and in Destiny that this is going to expire at this time and you want to take it out. And then all the resources, hopefully the resources that have been purchased individually are in your or in your Destiny account too, in your circulation system. But we can talk about that. I can help you with that. We can look and see what the orders were, and we'll have the MARC records for you.
And I put that document in the chat again. It's a document that goes for all of our Lunch and Learn sessions, but then I have the session resources that Mindy's talking about linked in today's event. And once I get the session recording done, that will be there as well. So then I'm trying to put everything in one little spot. So that's what I just put in the chat.
I'd love to help you, Wendy. We all would. So we want to make it as easy as possible for you and for your students.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. And
thank you so much for having me. Is there anything else? Did we miss anything? Forget anything?
Not that I can think of right now. I think it's just a good overall.
Wonderful. All right.
Awesome. And hopefully we'll see you next week. We lost her. Hopefully we'll see you next week at our second day of the Lunch and Learn series.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.